Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to your news edition. These are the headlines. The Lebanese President Joseph Aoun arrived in Algiers. An official welcome was reserved at the level of the international airport by the President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune. The President of the Republic received a phone call from the President of the German Federal Republic in which they evoked the bilateral relations as well as ways to reinforce them. In this edition, we will review the bilateral relations between Algiers and Beirut, historical relations based on cooperation and solidarity. And at the end, contracts were signed for the achievement of the first phase of the integrated agri-food project Baladna Algérie for the production of milk powder, an investment of $3.5 billion. Welcome back. The Lebanese President Joseph Aoun arrived on Tuesday in Algiers for an official visit. He was given an official welcome by the President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, at the Houari Boumediene International Airport, while 21 cannon shots rang out in honor of Algeria's guests, solemnly saluting the deep ties between Algiers and Beirut and reflecting the exceptional relations between the two countries. After listening to the national anthems of both countries, the two presidents reviewed the detachment of the Republican Guard, which rendered them the honors. The Lebanese president hailed the high officials for their welcome, headed by the State Minister, Minister of Foreign Affairs, the National Community Abroad and African Affairs, the State Minister, Minister of Energy, Mines and Renewable Energy, the Minister of Communication, advisors to the President of the Republic, the spokesperson of the Presidency of the Republic, as well as the Ambassador of Algeria to Lebanon. For his part, the President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, hailed the delegation accompanying the Lebanese President, which includes several ministers and high officials of strategic sectors. At the VIP lounge of the Algiers International Airport, the President of the Republic, Abdelmadjid Tebboune, held talks with the President of Lebanon, Joseph Aoun, in the presence of the delegations of the two countries, during which they evoked the deep and strong relations between the two countries, alongside ways to strengthen them to meet the aspirations of the two brotherly countries. At the headquarters of the Presidency of the Republic, the President of the Republic, Abdelmadjid Tebboune, gave his brother, the President of the Republic of Lebanon, Joseph Aoun, an official welcome. After saluting the flag, the Lebanese President reviewed the detachment of the Republican Guard that rendered him the honors. Before being welcomed by the President of the Republic, Abdelmadjid Tebboune. The two presidents then took a photo before the representatives of the national and international press. Algeria's guests hailed the high officials for their welcome, headed by the State Minister, Minister of Foreign Affairs, National Community Abroad and African Affairs, the State Minister, Minister of Energy, Mines and Renewable Energy, the Minister of Communication, Advisor to the President of the Republic, the spokesperson of the Presidency of the Republic, as well as the Ambassador of Algeria to Lebanon. On his side, the President of the Republic, Abdelmadjid Tebboune, hailed a delegation accompanying the Lebanese President, which includes members of the government and high officials. The President of the Republic held talks with the President of Lebanon, Joseph Aoun. The two leaders highlighted the bilateral relations between the two countries and ways to reinforce them, especially in the economic sector, to meet the aspirations of the two brotherly people. Following these talks, the President of the Republic, Abdelmadjid Tebboune, and his Lebanese counterpart, Joseph Aoun, chaired a session of talks with the members of the delegations of the two countries in various sectors. Several members of the government held talks with their Lebanese counterparts. The Minister of State, Minister of Foreign Affairs, National Community Abroad and African Affairs, Ahmed Attaf, held talks with his Lebanese counterpart, Foreign Affairs, Minister Youssef Regi. The talks evoked bilateral cooperation and means to strengthen it. For his part, the Communication Minister Mohamed Mzian and his Lebanese counterpart Paul Marqas discussed ways and means to boost media cooperation between the two countries. The advisor to the President of the Republic in charge of political affairs, relations with the youth, civil society and political parties, Zohair Bouamama, also held talks with the Lebanese President's advisor in charge of political affairs, Jean Aziz. The discussion covered the distinguished relations between the countries and topics of common interest. In his place of residence in Zeralda, the Lebanese President Joseph Aoun received the President of the Council of the Nation, Azouz Nasri, who paid him a courtesy visit. The Lebanese President received the President of the National Assembly, Brahim Boughali, who paid him a courtesy visit as well. The Lebanese President visited the Martyrs' Sanctuary in Algiers, where he led a wreath of flowers in front of the commemorative stele of the martyrs of the glorious Liberation Revolution, and observed a minute of silence in their memory. After that, Algeria's guests admired the panoramic view over Algiers Bay, accompanied by the Minister of State, Minister of Energy, Mines and Renewable Energies, Mohamed Arqab. As Algeria and Lebanon look to reinvigorate their historic relationship, the official visit of the Lebanese President Joseph Aoun to Algiers marks a pivotal moment for boosting bilateral ties, strengthening economic cooperation, and reaffirming solidarity in the face of regional and global challenges. Melissa Dila Balaman with the details.
Algeria and Lebanon share a long-standing bond rooted in history, shaped by mutual support and a shared ambition to take their relationship to new heights. Both nations as leaders have expressed a clear commitment to deepening this cooperation across a wide range of sectors. It is within this spirit that Lebanese President Joseph Aoun is making an official visit to Algiers, a high-level trip that aims to explore new opportunities for collaboration and address key regional and global challenges. Over the years, Algeria has shown steady support for Lebanon during some of its most turbulent times, whether through diplomatic calls for Arab solidarity, notably at the Baghdad summit, or in moments of crisis. Algeria has consistently backed Lebanon's unity, sovereignty, and stability. That support has taken tangible form. In 2020, following the devastating explosion at Beirut port, Algeria sent more than 200 tons of humanitarian aid, along with medical teams and disaster experts. It also provided assistance during the COVID-19 crisis and more recently committed to supplying fuel to help power Lebanon's electricity grid, a move that drew praise from across Lebanon's political spectrum. In a gesture reflecting the strong bilateral ties and desire to expand economic cooperation, the President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, announced in 2023 the resumption of direct flights between Algiers and Beirut, a step aimed at encouraging closer connections. On the parliamentary front, the Algerian-Lebanese Friendship Group, established in 2022, has worked to strengthen ties between legislatures. Its efforts have focused on expanding collaboration into new areas and paving the way for strategic partnership in key sectors, particularly through the activation of the Algerian-Lebanese Business Council.
The President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, received a phone call on Tuesday from the President of the Federal Republic of Germany, Frank-Walter Steinmeier, during which they discussed the bilateral relations and ways to reinforce them in various areas. The German President reiterated his invitation to the President of the Republic to visit Germany, and after accepting the invitation, the President of the Republic invited the German President to visit Algeria. The two sides also reviewed the developments in Gaza and the West Bank, affirming that the two-state solution remains the path to ending the conflict in the occupied Palestinian territories. They also discussed the current regional and international issues of interest to the both friendly countries. Algeria has officially launched the first phase of its large-scale Baladna project, aiming to produce 1.7 billion liters of milk per year and transform nearly 200,000 tons into powdered milk, a strategic step towards strengthening of food security and reducing reliance on imports, coverage by Walid Yousfi, taken up by Melissa Dila Balaman.
This series of agreements mark the official launch of the first phase of the Baladna project, an ambitious initiative that will roll out over 4 stages, with the long-term goal of producing 1.7 billion liters of milk annually and converting 194,000 tons into powdered milk, covering around 50% of Algeria's national needs.
We are now entering the implementation phase of the strategic project through the signing of contracts for equipment and installation related to irrigation systems, cattle farming, powdered milk production, and red meat. Production will begin once the herd is established in 2026, following the importation of top-quality cattle breeds, carefully selected according to international standards.
The initial priority will be to develop forage crops, build the first livestock facilities, which will be able to hold 50,000 head of cattle in the early stages, and lay the groundwork for infrastructure.
Work has already begun on the basic infrastructure needed for this project. The land is in the middle of the desert. There's no water nor electricity nor road access. But the state, and we thank it for this, has committed to providing all these elements. Every institution involved has made a major effort, and we acknowledge and appreciate that. This project directly supports one of the state's key strategic goals, strengthening the country's food security. It also helps reduce the import bill and stabilize the national market.
With a total area of 117,000 hectares and a total investment of $3.5 billion, Baladna stands as one of the country's most ambitious agricultural ventures and is expected to generate more than 5,000 direct jobs once completed.
Following the instruction of the President of the Republic, the Minister of Foreign Trade and Export Promotion Kamal Zig reaffirmed this Tuesday during the works of the Second Food Systems Summit of the United Nations in Addis Ababa, Algeria's position in favor of an international emergency action for the delivery of humanitarian aids to Gaza. This region is facing the danger of famine and is deprived of its right to food. In his speech, the minister highlighted that Algeria is calling for an immediate international emergency action aiming to ensure the delivery of humanitarian aids to Gaza with no condition nor obstacle, insisting on the need to seriously work to put an end to this violation of international law. And with this, we come to the end of our edition. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being with us.